welcome to today's lesson on adding and subtracting negative numbers. Now there's always two things I always start with negative numbers. The first thing, you might think this is simple, you might think this is easy, but when you're learning, it's really important that we draw a number line and we use a number line. This will really help us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to draw a number line in your notes. So make sure you've got that. So the best way to do that is do a dash in the middle of your page and do a line across like so. Always try and make it straight in the line. So actually probably use a ruler actually. So here I've got 0 in the middle, and then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. Super. So we're going to start with that because this is going to help us with our directed numbers. Okay. The next thing I'm going to talk about is some rules. I'm going to start off with things that you know, and then I'm going to work into things that you don't know. So I'm going to start off with, let's say, 2 on this side. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, like so. I'm going to start off with something that we know, which is 2 plus 3, because we know what that is. Okay, so 2 plus positive 3, let's say. So if I'm adding positive 3, 2 plus 3 I know is equal to 5. Okay, so I know that when I'm adding two things together, it becomes a positive number. We'll talk about that in a second. So now 2 plus 2 we know is 4. 2 plus positive 2 is 4. Brilliant. 2 plus positive 1 is equal to 3. We know that. 2 plus 0 is equal to 2. Now, this is where things are going to get a little bit different. Now, notice the pattern here. I've got 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm now going to do 2 plus negative 1. So what's the pattern here? 5, 4, 3, 2. So this must be 1. Okay. 2 plus negative 2 is equal to, well, let's follow the pattern. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And 2 plus negative 3 is going to be minus 1. Now, the thing I want to focus on here with this is what's happening. So here I've got two positives together. So if I've got two positives together, this is the same as just adding 2 plus 3. If I've got a positive plus a negative, what's happening here? Well, it's the same as doing 2 take away 1, isn't it? 2 take away 1 is 1. 2 take away 2 is 0. 2 take away 3 is negative 1. So if I'm adding a negative, this is the same as subtracting. So this is the first two of our rules. Okay. So I'm just going to rub that out and carry on with our rules then. So let's rub this out. So now what I want to look at is subtracting. So what happens when I subtract a number? So I'm going to do 5 this time. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So if I do 5 subtract positive 2, now that's just the same as saying 5 subtract 2. That's equal to 3. Subtract positive 1 is equal to, well, 5 take away positive 1 is equal to 4. 5 subtract 0 is equal to 5. Now here we're going to get a little bit funny again. So 5 subtract negative 1. Okay. Now notice the pattern here going 2, 1, 0, negative 1, 2, 1, 0, negative 1. And here 3, 4, 5. So what's going to be next in the pattern there? Well, next in the pattern here is going to be 6, isn't it? So if I subtract negative 2, 5 minus minus 2 is going to be 7. 5 subtract negative 3 is equal to 8. 5 subtract negative 4 is equal to 9. So here we see the next two parts of our rules. If I subtract a positive there, so subtracting a positive value, this is the same as, well, 5 take away 2 is 3, so that's the same as subtracting. Now this is the one that people always get struck with. If I subtract a negative value, so 5 subtract negative 1, notice that this is the same as doing 5 plus 1. So if I subtract a negative value, this is the same as adding, okay? we can check it here. So 5 subtract negative 3 is the same as adding. So 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. If I subtract a negative value, it's exactly the same as adding. Now, these are the important parts here of the negative numbers when we're starting off. It's the number line and knowing these as well. So if I'm adding a positive number, it's the same as adding. In fact, I've actually got these rules on here, the explanation. So let's have a look at this. If I'm adding, if I've got two symbols the same, then I add. If I'm adding a negative, it's the same as subtracting. If I'm subtracting a positive, it's the same as subtracting. Look, the same here. And if I'm subtracting a negative, it's the same as adding. Okay, and we looked at all of those. Now, it's worth getting those down in your notes because these are really important. We're going to use a lot of these when we're doing them. Okay, so let's start having a look at some questions then. We've done the explanation. So let's have a look at this one. So our first one here says, it is example 1. Let's get this down on our notes. Example 1, what is 3 subtract 7? Now, when you're doing something like this, it's just about being on that number line. So I'm starting at 3, subtract 7. So it's all about, actually, when you're doing negative numbers, it's all about where am I starting and what am I doing? So where am I starting and what am I doing? So with this one here, this is where I'm starting on my number line. I'm starting at 3. And what am I doing? Well, I'm subtracting 7, which means I go left 7. Okay? So 3, so where am I starting? I'm starting at 3, subtract 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the answer there is equal to negative 4. Starting at negative 3, subtracting 7, which means I go left. Okay? So this way is subtract, this way is add. Okay? So maybe pause now and have a little go at example 2 yourself. I'll make it big so you can see it. I mean, I think that's pretty easy, to be honest. In fact, I'm not even going to pause it. 4 less than 1. So don't be confused with that. It's not saying 4 take away 1. It's saying 4 less than 1. So basically what we're saying here is 1 subtract 4. 4 less than 1. Okay? So again, it's about where am I starting and what am I doing? Well, I'm starting at 1. I'm subtracting 4, which means I'm going left 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives me negative 3. Brilliant. Hopefully you're fine with that. Okay, so there's our first 2 examples. Let's have a go at some more. So let's just check those. Okay, so example, where am I at? So let's have a look at these ones then. So my first one is 5 minus 8 plus 1. So this one here is example 3. Now I'll do this one and then I'm going to pause and get you to do the next one. So it's all about where am I starting and what am I doing. Now in this one I've got 2 steps, haven't I? Subtract 8, then plus 1. So where am I starting? Well, I'm starting at 5. Subtract 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Brilliant. So that takes me to minus 3. And then plus 1 is negative 2. And there's your answer. Brilliant. Okay. So example 4. Pause now. I think you should find this. I think you should be fine with this. But pause now and have a little go at that one yourself. So pause now and have a go at that one on the right. Okay, so let's have a go at this one together then. So where am I starting? I'm starting at 7, then I'm subtracting 9, then I'm subtracting 2. So I start at 7, subtract 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then subtract another 2, 1, 2 is negative 4 like so. Brilliant. So 7 minus 9, subtract 9, minus 2 again. Brilliant. Hopefully you got that right. So let's have a look at our next question. So our next question is stepping up a little bit here, and these are ones that we'll probably see more of. I know these might seem quite basic right now, but we need to know all of these to get onto the harder ones, okay? And this is the basis of everything with negative numbers. So, example 5. Now, example 5 says 7 subtract. Now, don't worry about those brackets, negative 4. You don't actually have to have the brackets. It could just look like that. 7 subtract negative 4. Now we have got brackets, so I'm going to keep them in there. But the important thing is about looking at these two next to each other. Here, I've got two negative, I'm subtracting a negative value. So what I do, the best way to do this, is to circle where the two symbols are together. And I'm going to be using this table here to see which I'm going to be using. Well, if I'm subtracting a negative, this is the same as adding, isn't it? We saw that right from the very beginning. So what is 7 plus 4? Subtracting a negative, 7 plus 4 is equal to, well, 7 plus 4, nice and easy, is equal to 11. Brilliant. Super. Okay, so let's have a look now at example 6, the one on the right. So we've got two steps there. We're starting at negative 2, and the positive and negative are together, so you're going to need to circle that. But pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. Okay, so let's have a look at this one together then. So we've got two things here. We're starting at negative 2, and then I'm adding negative 3. So the first thing I'm going to deal with is where we've got this adding a negative. So I'm going to circle that, and it's always worth doing this when we're first starting. Now if I'm adding a negative, if we look up here, adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So this is the same as subtracting. Okay? So here what I'm doing is, it might be worth writing out underneath, negative 2 subtract 3. And we know we can do that using the directed numbers. So negative 2's here. Where am I starting and what am I doing? Well, I'm starting at negative 2, subtract 3, 1, 2, 3, which is negative 5. So this one here is equal to negative 5. So hopefully you got that one right. Brilliant. Okay, so I've got a couple more here to have a go at. So then this next one here is example 7. Okay, so example 7. I know it says example 5, don't worry too much about that. I've got negative 6, subtract negative 8. Now, if you want to pause and have a go at that one first yourself, that's fine. Okay, so let's have a little look now. So here I've got this double negative here. Okay, so here, remember when I'm subtracting a negative, it's the same here, isn't it? When I'm subtracting a negative, it's the same as adding. I'd always suggest that you do that at first. So circle where those two are together and then have a look at it. So this is going to be equal to negative 6 add 8. So it's like we're looking at it like a whole new sum. And then it's about where am I starting, what am I doing? And I'm going to keep hammering this. Where am I starting, what am I doing? Well, I'm starting at negative 6. And I'm adding 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So negative 6 plus 8 is 2. Brilliant. Okay. So we've got one on the right there. It is a tricky one, that one. But pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. So pause now and have a little go at that one. It's a tricky one, this one. Okay, let's look at it together again then. So, this one's a little bit tricky now. It's not the same as the ones we've been looking at. Here I've got negative 8, subtract something, is equal to positive 3. Now, we're working backwards a little bit here. You might have flew through this already. But what I've got to do is I've got to try and get from negative 8, which is over here, over to 3, which is over here. So first of all, let's see how many jumps it is. So it's going to be negative 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's going to be plus 11. Now the problem here is, if I just put plus 11 in here, that's going to be minus positive, which means I'm going 11 left. It's going to be like a negative, isn't it? So actually, to make this a positive plus 11, I've got to have this as a double negative. Okay? So this one here needs to be negative 11, because a negative and a negative makes a positive, and then 8 plus 11 is equal to 3. So it is tricky, that one. The answer to that one is negative 11, because subtracting negative 11 is the same as adding 11. Okay, so just be careful with that one. All right, that was a tricky one, that one. Okay, so I've got some questions here for you to go have a go at. This is a little test your knowledge. So what I'm going to suggest now is you pause now, have a go at these 4 questions, and depending on how many you get right, depends on what worksheet I'm going to suggest that you do. Okay, so pause now and have a little go at those 4 questions there. Okay, so we've got 3 different sections here. We've got, oh, sorry, just mark those first, my fault. So mark those in your book, see how you got on. Okay, so as I said, there are 3 different sections here. We've got a base level, we've got a developing level, and we've got a mastery level. So if you've got no questions right from the test your knowledge, then what I'm going to suggest that you do is you pause now and have a go at this section, which is the base level. If you got between 2 and 3 right, then I'm going to suggest that you pause now and then you do this developing level here. So pause now and do the developing level. And if you got all of the questions right in the test your knowledge, have a go at this section here, which is called the mastery section. Okay, so pause now and have a little go at this one, which is the mastery section. Okay, so I'm going to pop the answers up. So here are the answers for the base level. So mark those and see how you got on. Here are the answers for the developing level. So pause now and mark those, see how you got on. And if you did the mastery, so pause now, there's the mastery. Mark those. Okay, so thank you for watching this video on adding, subtracting negative numbers. Do make sure you're having a go at the questions, because remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a lovely day.